Every poster on the forums liked Christmas a lot, but a certain angry Canadian did not. Jawhsy hated Christmas the whole Christmas season. Besides his Uncle Jack Daniels, no one quite knew the reason. It could be Paint Net running too glitchy. It could be even that he just disliked Gifley. But I think the reason most of all was that Jawhsy's post count was 2 times too small. But whatever the purpose, Gifley or CRS4, he sneered at his computer, calling it a filthy whore. Staring at the holiday orange with his flaming mohawk, he wished he could give them all a swing of his cock. But everyone in the threads below was too busy deciding what they could get for dear Gello.
"And then they're forgetting the lulls," he said with a sneer. "Tomorrow a Christmas repost. It's practically here."
Then he yelled as his speakers were rocking,
"I must stop Christmas and get PJ to start locking."
For tomorrow he knew that all the TPS boys would wake up bright and early for their brand new toys. And then, oh, the noise, like Doc's hentai, the noise! Some arcade sticks for RPG and Unpro, and for Ratman and Dylan, some classy new hose. For One Shot, a new pint glass with Kawari's name engraved. And for Demon Gate, a new uniform, fit for a maid. And then they'd do something he hated a lot. Every poster from Greggy to the bots would hover hand each other with Christmas bells ringing. And then the jerk-offs would start singing. Then they'd laugh. And the more he thought about them laughing, the more he thought,
"I must stop this from happening."
Then he got an idea. An awful idea. Jawhsy got a Hayakuretsu 1000 cracked fist at the no star of an idea.
"I know what I must do,"
as he laughed with great joy.
"I'll dress up as Santa and steal all their toys."
He cackled and hollered as he made a new robe. Then he thought,
shit's too boring,
and made it purple and gold.
"All I need is a reindeer."
And he looked around, but ever since he destroyed the forests, there were none to be found. That stopped old Jawhsy.
"No!"
yelled the man with a vast load of swag. "If I can't find a reindeer, I'll do it with fag." So he called out his dog, Pentrazor, and said,
"Hey, I'ma hot glue these antlers on you, Kay."
Then he loaded some guns and his liquor of Yule, mounted poor Pentrazor, and yelled,
"I pity the fool!"
The sleigh started down. The slopes were all icy. He ran over poor Craigie, who was just playing nicely. All the windows were dark, cheerful music on their iPods. All the posters dreaming of their beloved based gods.
"This is stop number 1,
the crippler cross-face hissed. He climbed to the roof.
"I'm the master of fist!"
Then he slid down the chimney with very little room. But hey, if the old fantasy could do it, maybe he could too. He got stuck for a few hours or so, but he punched through the wall and drank for it to show. Where lights were hanging AVs all in a row.
250 by 250 is for the weak! They all have to go!
Then he jumped through the air with a frown oh so stank. He punched through the room and took all their ranks.
"Anime shit and obscure gaming gadgets? All of these things are just for faggots."
And then he stuffed him in his bag with a strong firm hold. Then he ran through the chimney and right out of the home. Then at the next house, he saw the gifts with glee. He looked over and said,
"I'll Kenshiro the tree!"
And he a fist, fingers started to coy. Then he heard a sound of a very small boy. Shafty Cake stared with wide eyes and said, "Santa, that's messed up. Why are you kicking our tree's ass, you dud?" Jawhsy needed a lie, so he gave it a shot. But all he could muster was ...
"You're not answering, Santa!"
He jumped with a shout, so Jawhsy knocked him the fuck out. He fired the tree straight through the roof. Then he disappeared, gone with a poof. And the one bit of drink left him in his stop was a puny shot glass, too small for even one shot. Then he went to other houses, stealing presents by the stash, even went to Clumsy's house, and stole all of his cash. It was 1:15 dawn, all the posters in bed, all the people still sleeping, while he packed up in his sled. Packed with their presents, like NES Narrow's new laser, he even took Young Yet Retro's brand new calculator. Then, 3,000 feet up on the side of a mountain, he laid smack on the gifts in a wonderful fashion.
"They're all a bunch of scrubs,"
he said, evilly humming.
"They'll find out that no Christmas is coming. They're just waking up, and I know what they'll do. Their mouths will hang open, and they will start shouting. Maybe I could record John Sonic crying and pouting. That is a noise I simply must hear."
So he paused and put a hand to his ear, and he did hear a sound, right through the snow. But what he didn't expect was that it started to grow. The sound wasn't sad, it was glad. Even Arshan started laughing, screaming with Dad. He stared down at Pentrazor, narrowed his eyes, then he shook. He heard a startling surprise. "I'm gonna take you for a ride, I'm 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 gonna take you for a ride." Every poster, from Mexican anime to Gifly, started singing without a present to see. He hadn't stopped Christmas from coming. It came! Somehow or other, it was all just the same. And Jawhsy in his boots, ice cold in the snow, stood puzzled and confused.
"How can it be so? They should be trolling and locking, spamming and lolling. Hell, they should be reek-rolling."
He was furious, mad to the core. But then he thought of something he hadn't before. And he nodded, with a creepy smile, arms crossed as he stood. "Maybe Christmas is just about being good." But then the touching scene was soon interrupt, as his senses, the people he knew, were corrupt. He saw 6 turbans, women in veils. He even saw tea leaves, which smelled very stale. And he saw the gifts were being ravaged by a Mahane Jihad. He yelled at them,
"Hey, lay off them dickwads!"
But the odds were against him, and the fight was not pleasant. It seemed like Jawhsy could not save a present.
"Soon the forums will be shut down forever. They won't even know I'm Capcom. Oh, ho, ho, I am so clever."
And what happened then? Well, so you could say. Jawhsy's post count grew 3 times that day. The forum's bandwidth had exceeded, but he didn't care, because destroying the forums again, they wouldn't even dare. And the spirit of Christmas helped fuel his vengeance. He beat them all within an inch of existence. After only a moment, they were all screaming as Jawhsy defeated them with a smile that was gleaming. It would have been better had I ran, because Jawhsy yelled, "Kongu Koretsu-kuzan!" His now green eyes were glowing for them to see.
"If you leave now, you get to live, capiche?"
And for a minute Paint Net was running perfectly as he carried his dog to see. The shoppers, they were all good sports, even K3B, who was freezing in his shorts. He gave back the gifts, for every single toy.
For Gallo, for Jordan, even for Greggy Boy. For 360, for Bobo, for AKA Dave, for Trent, for Ratman, and for Metal Reigns, for Terra, for Darkseid, and for Lamar.
Did he apologize to Shafty? You can bet your stars. But of course all the blokes and all the men celebrated and shouted a triumphant
Sure you can!
Merry Pwnmas, everybody!